advantage here in Kansas City that's ours. I know a lot of people say they own their own extraction facility. We really do. We extract here. We formulate everything in our facility in Independence, where we have all of our warehousing, bottling, distribution, and all of our executive team is here out of this facility that I'm in right now.
Awesome. Awesome. And before I go a little bit deeper, do you mind me saying how you got into the industry, like how you were with like American Shaman and stuff like that? Are you comfortable sharing all that stuff?
Yeah. I mean, my history is what it is. I owned a firearm auction company that was brought on a national stage, and after that, can I pause? How do I pause this for 1 second?
I mean, typically you don't really pause it. You can just mute yourself, I think. Let's see. Actually, to be honest, I do not know. I'm not sure how you do that.
I don't know either. Let me see. I got an important phone call I got to take back real quick.
Oh, no worries. Oh, so how about this? Why don't you just
take me off for 30 seconds and I'll come right back.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I'll try to figure that out. How do I even do that? I don't really go live with other people, but it's cool. Or you can just exit out. There we go. So, yeah, Todd knows a lot about the industry and everything like that. So, today we'll be talking about these prompts. Kratom is a lawful dietary ingredient. A lot of people say it's not. A lot of people say, oh, it's illegal to import Kratom under the FDA 5412 or 5414, which is like the import alert, but it is legal. Then also we want to clarify on the 7-hydroxy scheduling, and then of course 7-hydroxy is not kratom. But yeah, we'll see if more people join in. I usually get a lot of people in here, and I just feel like it's really important that you guys hear what he has to say. There's a lot of people out there, I think, spreading false rumors right now, and it's just a little bit of a weird time, and I think he could really clear a lot of things up. I think he's fantastic. But let me see if there's any comments right now. As for now, no, not yet. Hey, Jordan, we love you, brother. Oh, thank you, man. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing amazing. Hope you're doing really, really good. Your hair is awesome. I love your hair. What's up, Jason? Nice to see you. So we're just gonna give Todd a couple seconds, and then he'll come back on. But he used to be a part of American Shaman, Vince Saunders, the 70H, and he left for a very particular reason, a reason that I have the utmost respect for. So I think I'll let him cover that. But he was with American Shaman for like a very, very long time. So I really like his perspective for sure. Share the live, encourage more viewers to share. Oh yeah, share it, guys. I guess that would be cool. And until he comes back on, wait, I'm ready. Start the battle for this next legislation. Let's go, baby. Yeah. So today was the first day that 70H could be scheduled. So whenever they made their announcement, you can do it no less than 30 days. And I made the announcement 30. Why did I didn't make the announcement, but it's when I made the same day that they made the announcement. I made the announcement on my page. That was 30 days ago, and now it's been 30 days. So they're probably not going to do it today. Typically, they do it like in 30 days, but they could do it tomorrow, the day after that. So. I was blindsided by North Dakota thing this morning. Yeah, but I think they're going to get reversed. I'm like 99.9% sure North Dakota will be reversed. Oh, what's up, Dwayne? Nice to see you. But yeah, it could be any day. What I heard through the grapevine is that they will make the announcement at the end of the week. So that's what I'm going to go with. But I'm glad that you are ready to take the legislative battle for sure. I think that's awesome.
I'm sorry about that. My business partner is traveling right now, and we've been playing phone tag, and we are in the middle of we're in the middle of purchasing another company right now. So when it comes public, you guys will be it'll be big news. Anyway,
there you go.
Apologize about that. You were asking my story. What got me into this? I've known Vince Sanders, the owner of CBD American Shaman, for 26 years now, I think, 25, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is at the infancy of CBD American Shaman. They really had nothing going on substantial. And I came on board. They had zero franchises. Uh, they just were trying to become a company. They hadn't done it yet. Uh, so anyway, that being said, uh, came on board, was supposed to just do marketing, turned into, little manufacturing oversight, things of that nature. And then before you knew it, I was the chief operating officer of the entire company. We launched the franchise system. We went from 0 stores to 360 in about 2 years. Uh, really started to learn how to manufacture products. Uh, when I got in, they made CBD. That was it. They didn't make
Mm-hmm.
anything but CBD. And then in 2019, they started making Delta 8 and then HHC and other cannabinoids. And that was pushing my comfort level as far as what we made. And the straw that broke my back when I said I got to.
Oh, what happened? He went off. Wait, let's see if we can get him back on. Until he gets back up, I'll finish the story. Basically, they met someone who was doing tianeptine and saying like, "Hey guys, this isn't a good thing." But basically, once Vince heard like about tianeptine, and even though he was warned like, "Please don't do this. This stuff's really really bad," he had their scientists in the back trying to like reverse engineer it, and they put their brand on the market called Neptune. And yeah, so that's when Todd decided to walk away. But let me see if I can get him back on. 1 second. Where did he go? Okay, there we go. Got you back.
You know what happened?
No.
Okay. It just all of a sudden went blank. I thought it ended.
No,
Anyway,
no, no, no.
so anyway, they started doing Delta 8. The day that I was like, I got to get out of here, I had a small kratom company at the time. It was doing 100 grand a month, 150 grand a month, nothing significant in volume. And Vince, his legal name is Vincent Sanders II, or Stephen Vincent Sanders II. He has a son named Stephen Vincent Sanders III. Stephen Sanders came back from the East Coast. It's like, guys, I got it. I know exactly the product we need to start putting in the kratom shots that'll really give people the fix they're using. And then he said it's what OPMS uses, which I know is bullshit now. Uh, and it was called tianeptine. And he's like, so at the time, I had a relationship with a lawyer named John Van Oppen. He was on the call today with the American Kratom Association. John was on
Mm-hmm.
there. He'll verify everything I'm saying to be 100% true. I reached out to John and we set up a Zoom call. So you had Vince, Stephen, John, and I. And since John represented me, not the company, nothing is violating an attorney-client. I said, John, they want us to start putting tianeptine in products. What do you think? And he immediately said, stay away from it. Stay the fuck away from it. Run as fast as you can. It's going to kill somebody. It's going to hurt somebody. You're going to get in a lot of trouble. So we ended the call, and I looked at Stephen and Vince. I'm like, I'm out. I don't want anything to do with it. Uh, so anyway, a week later, I was walking through the laboratory. Jade Owens or Jade Mitchell. I know she got married to her wife. Uh, I don't know exactly what her name is now, but her name is Jade Mitchell or Jade Owens. She was the chief chemist at CBD American Shaman, and she had these 2 kilos of a white powder. And I was like, what is this? And she responded, oh, this is tianeptine. And in my mind, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is going on here? Uh, they're like, yeah, we're trying to make a nano emulsion out of it to make it stronger. We want to start putting it in liquid formulas. I bounced and I started this right here, Mint Wellness. They started a company called Neptune's Fix tianeptine. And you can Google this. Google Neptune's Fix tianeptine. Killed people. It was part of a massive recall by the FDA. Uh, they went in and got shut down. So they shut down Neptune's Fix tianeptine, and then about a month later, they relaunched it after the FDA shut that down. They relaunched it as Morpheus fixed tianeptine, and then they had that back on the market. And that's when the FDA's Office of Criminal Investigations got involved, and who knows where that went. So that's my involvement. I started this, and when we started a kratom company, the only exposure I had to manufacturing was what I learned through CBD American Shaman. And it was when I met my current FDA compliance attorney was the deputy director of dietary supplements for the FDA. I had a meeting with him, and from that day moving forward, compliance was the cornerstone of our business operation. Understanding, the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, understanding DSHEA, what is Part 111, 117, 190.6. And it's a environment that we operate within called compliance. We're not perfect, but we're trying to be. And we have an entire
Yeah.
staff and quality department dedicated to it's an evolving environment that every day we get better. And so
And
that's
and
where
and real quick, I know a lot of people who aren't in the industry won't really know what the Shea Act is. Can you explain that to them real quick? And I think just so people can get like a basic understanding.
let me go back to
What happened, Jen? NDI. Evidence suggests that it's probably an old dietary ingredient, even though there's not definitive black and white proof. But we know that Vietnam veterans brought it back. It was available at trade shops and stuff like that. But the FDA is going to look for irrefutable proof that it was available in commerce prior to 1994. Anyway, the extract we make was not in the food supply chain prior to 1994. And the distinction is it had to be present in the supply chain unchemically altered. Kratom extract was not available unchemically altered. So it is now a new dietary ingredient.
Sorry, my kids in the background.
I
So
got three daughters. So anyway,
uh,
if it's a new dietary ingredient, you're required to notify the FDA 75 days prior to market entry, and that's a dossier where you describe what is it and is it safe. So
mhm.
that's kind of a two-part thing.
Have you seen like a lot of confusion between like the natural leaf products and 7 hydroxy?
From a yes, there's a plethora of miscommunication. Uh, what is it? Is it leaf? Is it an extract? Or is it an isolate?
So those are three distinct categories. If it's a raw leaf product, what is your definition of raw leaf or whole leaf? A powder, a capsule, a tablet, and typically most people agree that it's ground up kratom leaf as a powder, either as a powder or ground up kratom leaf, ground up kratom leaf pressed into ground up kratom leaf pressed into a tablet. Now you have extract products. That's when you extract products. That's when you use food grade solvents. You extract the main alkaloids, or in my case, I remove all the plant material, and what I'm left with are all the alkaloids. And the difference between full spectrum and broad spectrum are two different definitions.
Jen, what are you doing?
Is not found in the fresh whole leaf. It is only found after degradation starts happening and it converts metrogenine over to 7-hydroxy. It's a post-harvesting product
Metabolite,
that
basically.
shows up in there. And then the other argument is, well, it's natural. Yes, 7-hydroxy as a molecule can be found naturally, but the product being introduced into commerce is not natural 7-hydroxy. It's semi-synthetic. And they take a kratom extract. The higher the potency of metrogenine, the better off they are, but it still has minor and subalkaloids in there. So when you oxidize 7-hydroxy or metrogenine over to 7-hydroxy, you're also possibly oxidizing speciosylotine over to 7-hydroxy speciosylotine or 7-hydroxypananthine, or you're modifying those other alkaloids as well. And when you put them under spectrometer and you start to looking at the chemical makeup of the product, there's these unidentified peaks found that nobody knows exactly what they are. So yes, you can find 7-hydroxy in some of these converted products, but there's a lot of other compounds in there. Even the University of Florida has acknowledged we don't know what they are yet. I think
Yeah.
you were talking to them.
Yep.
I saw a video of was Dr. Agash.
Yes.
Okay.
And McCurdy, yeah, both of them.
They were talking to you about that same issue. They haven't identified what exactly is in it. And part of the NDIN process is you have to be able to chemically characterize what is it, and you have to be able to identify what it is. And there is no identity known on what is in these commercially available products that you're seeing in the market.
Yeah, they're completely different thing. So I'd like to go on a couple of the stuff here on the prompt. Can we start with number 3, the clarification of the 7-hydroxy scheduling?
Yes. Yeah. You have to look at the way the DEA announced the intent to schedule. They didn't schedule kratom. They didn't schedule 7-hydroxy as a molecule. They scheduled thresholds. And when they had this commenting period, they were specifically looking for people with scientific evidence to help them decide the exact scheduling definitions and thresholds. They weren't looking for people's anecdotal evidence of, hey, I use 7-hydroxy and I'm not dead yet. They don't care. They've already decided they're going to schedule. They're looking for scientific reasons on why to base the 500 parts per million. Is that too low? Is it too high? So the scheduling is scheduling a unnatural or artificially inflated amount of 7-hydroxy that doesn't have a scientific basis that it resembles a natural extract or a natural.
Makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And I've also heard a lot of people saying that a lot of people in the kratom industry, they only will talk bad about 7-OH because of like profits and stuff like that. What would you say to those types of people?
Well, first of all, back in, I think it was August of 22, we made 7-hydroxy. And when I first got into this, keep in mind, we didn't really know how bad it was going to affect the industry. And when I got into this, we had thought about engineering alkaloid profiles. Let's go back to the Food and Drug and Cosmetic Act and DSHEA. When you start engineering profiles, that crosses the line from supplement territory to drug territory. And we're a supplement manufacturing company. We're not registered under 210, 211. That's how you regulate drugs. And so in order to do that, you have to file a IND, get that approved. That's an investigational new drug. But anyway, long story short, we made 7-hydroxy. It's not complicated. If you watch Vince's documentary, extraction facilities in the United States, it would have been very easy to start manufacturing 7-hydroxy. But we knew what it was, and we thought at the time it's going to cripple the kratom industry, not because of what it is, because of how it's going to be regulated and the adverse events, the negative consequences.
I do not know why he keeps doing that.
This is January of 23. You can see the post on it's on a state level, a federal level, or a local municipality level. I talk to a lot of politicians. They don't give a shit about the difference between kratom and 7-hydroxy, 90% of them. They don't want to spend the time to get educated and understand. They're a politician. They have 1,000 issues. Kratom's just one of 1,000 things they have to address. And they don't care. So it's easier for a lot of them to say, just ban it all. And that's what we saw a lot of people do. Now we have to fight every step of the way, whether it's a local city, a state, or on a federal level, and educate people on what it is and what it isn't. And that's been extremely challenging over the past 3 years because it's a whole lot easier to kill a bill than it is to get one passed. And as evidence, the 7-hydroxy community killed for the second year in a row at KCPA in Missouri. They found a couple senators that they donated to on a state level and prevented it from getting passed.
Yeah,
But so anyway, to answer your question, what do I say to people that say it's just about lost revenue? I could have been one of the first people to the party mass producing this, and I probably left 500 million on the table. And do I regret my decision? Not at all, because I have a soul.
Not everything is about money. It's about your morals too. You know, being able to sleep at night is worth way more than all of that money. All the people that I've always respected in the industry, they stayed with the leaf. Like we originally signed up for kratom. This is the plant we fell in love with. And the people I didn't really respect, they all went to 708. So I think there's definitely a character issue. At least in my opinion. And can we go over number one? Kratom is a lawful dietary ingredient. I think that's a great topic to talk about.
Well, let's finish up one more thing on 7-hydroxy.
Okay.
Can you name any of the large legacy kratom brands that got involved?
No.
None of us did. And when you think about it, you don't think OPMS could have figured it out? You don't think Mint 45 could have figured it out? It's not that hard. I've had people approach me for the past 3 years wanting to sell me 7-hydroxy extract. I've had people want to come in and set, for 20 grand, set up a scalable lab to produce 7-hydroxy. So it came down to a matter of principle, knowing what it would cause if we did do it. Jennifer, do you know if companies ever put TNF in kratom products? I have no knowledge that they ever did. But Jordan, you wanted to go on to the next topic. Kratom is a lawful dietary ingredient.
Yes, I think that would. Oh, actually, one more thing about 7-hydroxy too. I think a lot of people get confused. Well, they say, well, 7-OH is in kratom. Well, it's not technically in kratom. It's in trace amounts in like dried kratom powder. But just the pharmacological effect of natural kratom leaf versus these chemically manipulated 7-hydroxy products are much different because with the natural leaf, yes, it is binding to multiple receptors, but has a very low binding affinity. And with the 7-hydroxy products, like the binding affinity is so much higher, and you're only targeting opioid receptors. Isn't that one of the reasons why why like the National Institute of Drug Abuse or the CDC has always said kratom is not an opioid based on its botanical origin, chemical structure, or law nationally, but also its pharmacological profile affecting so many different parts of the brain, while like opioids don't really do that.
Well,
What are your thoughts?
it's kratom has a unique profile, and it's different than 7-hydroxy. Uh, a lot of people equate the level of addictiveness of kratom to be comparable to caffeine. Uh, I've used kratom off and on for years, every day. Shameless plug here. I drink one of these. It's a 50 milligram kratom seltzer that we make. I take it every day in the afternoon to give me a little a jump start to kind of kick me back in gear for the finishing of the day. But anyway, it's a unique profile. 7-hydroxy, I've never tried it, but I know with certainty what it would do. It lights up the mu opioid receptor. It interacts with your body identically to the way an opioid would. And some of the arguments, so, well, it's a partial agonist just like kratom. Well, the opioid receptor doesn't see it that way. It's highly addictive. And here's the other thing. How long have you heard that it's not addictive, that it doesn't have cardiac depression, pulmonary depression, and you can't overdose on it? How long have you heard that?
A lot.
Go read the new dietary ingredient notification that CBD American Shaman filed with the FDA a few months ago. In there, they flat out highlight that it is highly addictive, that it has cardiac depression, that it has pulmonary depression, that it interacts just like a traditional opioid would. That's their own statements to the FDA based on their own research. So I don't think anybody can argue anymore on some of those points. It's in their own research that they published to the FDA. Go read it
Yeah.
yourself.
When I went to the University of Florida to interview Dr. Christopher McCurdy, that's one of the things we really talked about was the fact that it can cause respiratory depression. And so many people saying, "Oh no, it's impossible. 7-hydroxy can't." But he did multiple studies, and they were all reversible with Narcan. You know,
Yeah.
and not to say that it's. I'm not going to say it's as common as fentanyl or something like that, but to say it can't happen is really not listening to science. Like that's kind of, again, I don't think it's happening all the time. Obviously, there's a lot of people taking very, very high amounts out there, but to say that it's not possible is just completely denying science, 100%.
Well, one of the things you got to really take a look at here, in defense of 7-hydroxy, it's not as deadly as fentanyl, because if it was,
Exactly,
you'd see bodies stacking up. But
100%.
under the Food and Drug and Cosmetic Act, here's an important caveat. You have to have a scientific basis of safety that your formulation will do no harm. Harm doesn't equate to death. Harm begins a lot further down that line than death. So it doesn't have to kill you to be harmful. So that was supposed to be done prior to market entry. It didn't happen.
Do you feel like people were kind of used as like guinea pigs or experiments with
Absolutely,
7?
absolutely, absolutely. That's exactly what happened. Uh, when I got into kratom, uh, I knew that kratom had 15, 20 years of use in the American population, regular traditional kratom products. I knew that OPMS, MIT 45, a lot of these large legacy brands had been on the market selling uh, extract products. We took the time on our extract to do our own safety dossier on it. And we have the scientific data that shows that we're safe at 50 milligrams per serving. And you'll see everything we make is served in 50 milligram servings. And we also know that 150 milligrams per day is what we think is safe. And we have the science that supports that. Now let's talk about this. You hear high potency extracts all the time. What does that mean, a high potency extract?
I feel like they're conflating it with like MGM 15 and 708. A lot of people think that those are extracts.
You heard the term high potency extract before 7-hydroxy entered the market. So it's years, OPMS was called a high potency extract.
I get what you're saying. Okay. Yeah.
And where I'm going with this is we make products with dropper tops. We have one that has 3,000 milligrams in a bottle, but it has a dropper top in there. and every dropper you get 50 milligrams. Would you consider a jar of 1,000 aspirin high potency aspirin?
No,
Because
it comes down to serving size.
on the side it says take 325 milligrams at a time. Just because the amount that you have is 1,000 pills, that doesn't mean nobody realistically thinks you're supposed to take 1,000 milligrams or 1,000 pills at a time. Same thing with our products. On there, every one of our products is labeled 50 milligrams per serving. We have a 100 milligram product. There's 2 servings in there. We have a 500 milligram product with a dropper top. So I always find it confusing when people argue that these are high potency extracts. Well, the devil's in the details. How much am I telling you to take at any given time?
Totally makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
So
And
anyway, kratom is a lawful dietary ingredient because under the Food and Drug and Cosmetic Act, it flat out says a botanical is a dietary ingredient. Kratom is a botanical. Now you have to go through the regulatory process. Is it an ODI or is it an NDI? If it was an NDI, you got to notify the FDA. Here's another misnomer or misconception. There is no approval process by the FDA for dietary supplements. There's 100,000 different dietary supplements on the market in the United States. 0 of them have FDA approval. So when people say, well, kratom's not approved by the FDA, no shit, nothing is when it comes to a supplement.
yeah,
So I find that to be a disingenuous argument or somebody that doesn't understand the process. You go to CVS, you buy melatonin, ashwagandha, vitamin C. None of that's FDA approved.
that's
So,
true. Why do you think people target it only on kratom though? Why don't we hear people say that about vitamin C?
it's because nobody is claiming that vitamin C hurt them. So
Hmm.
I think that's it. You have a lot of people that claim that kratom hurt them, or some people out there, and it's an easy scapegoat. And when you look at these poly drug use scenarios where somebody overdosed, they had cocaine, fentanyl, alcohol in their system, they had a bottle of kratom next to them. It's very easy for parents to blame kratom. You can't blame the cocaine dealer because you can't take him to court. You can't blame the heroin dealer. You can't take him to court over product liability. But if you're a actual functioning business, you operate within the law, you can get taken to court over it.
Yeah. Have you guys ever been in a situation like that?
No.
Always keep your side of the street clean, right? It's the
Yeah.
best way.
It's anybody in the United States can get sued for any reason. So just
Yeah,
because you get sued, that's no admission of guilt. That just
of
means it's
course.
on the plaintiff's attorney to file a lawsuit. So I think if you're in the kratom space, sooner or later, everybody's going to get sued. So
Is number one, is there any other reason why you would say that it's a lawful dietary ingredient besides a botanical? Is there anything more you can follow up with, or that's just the reason?
well, in my particular case, statutorily, I'm required to register my facility with the FDA. I'm required to follow 21 CFR Part 111, 117, and 190.6. We acknowledge that our extract is a new dietary ingredient. We filed that notice with the FDA 4 years ago. We have post-market surveillance set up in place to monitor any adverse event reportings. We've had over 60 million servings post-market surveillance with 0 reportable adverse events. With that in mind, we have fulfilled our obligation under 21 CFR, and we are on the market lawfully.
I think kratom.
I had the FDA seize product from me in Minnesota 2 years ago. They unseized it 24 hours later when I sent them our legal documents.
Mhm.
So,
I mean, wasn't it Bob Durkin who was number 2 at the FDA? He said one of his biggest mistakes at the FDA was that he said it was okay to seize some kratom products, and he goes, "I didn't know, but there's so much science and data that I should never have done that."
Bob will say that, yes.
Okay, I want to. It's Durkin, right? Bob Durkin. He was like number 2 at the FDA or something like
Uh,
that. Okay, I always found that super interesting because the general public doesn't hear stuff like that. You know,
nope, nope. And if one thing that bothers me is anytime anytime Bob speaks or Dr. Henningfield speaks, the anti-kratom people, well, they're industry funded.
Hmm.
Okay. Who's going to pay them if it's not the industry? They don't work for free. Good science costs money. And, just because I'm paying for somebody to do scientific research, that's not going to influence, hopefully, the outcome of the conclusion. So, they always attack Bob and Henningfield. Well, the industry pays you. Well, the FDA did their single ascending dose study. We can all look at the results there. Did that single ascending dose study prove that kratom's safe? No. It shows that it was well tolerated based on the controlled conditions. They got up to 12 grams per person, and they got sick because of the plant material, not because of an adverse event.
They got
Taking
nauseous.
12 grams of kratom powder in 5 minutes, that's a lot of plant material for your body to consume. So
Hmm.
would the FDA have given that to people if they really thought it could kill people?
No.
Then you look at the threshold, the National Institute of Health, they just got an approved IND on metrogeny. They had to prove that it was not going to kill you before they could get live human participants in that study. And the FDA signed off on that. You can also go look at the Guthrie hearing in San Diego from a couple of years ago when Sebastian Guthrie was on trial for illegally importing kratom
Yep.
because he lied on the manifest of what it was. That's what he got in trouble for, lying on the manifest, not importing kratom, for lying on federal documents. So when the FDA was tasked to provide justification for their import alert, the FDA went in writing. Google this for yourself, people. And this is in May or March of 23. The FDA said, we have yet to make a determination if kratom is unsafe. That's an official response in court records from the FDA.
Hmm. Yeah, and they were put under oath too. I remember that. They're like, we have no proof that kratom is dangerous. I totally remember that 100%. Where do you think that the radical shift in the stance of the FDA on kratom started? My gut is like back when we had Dr. Admiral Brett Gerwall, kind of stopping the ban in, I believe it was 2017, right after what happened in 2016. That's where I feel like things started to kind of shift, because you had the assistant secretary of health at HHS saying, the biggest health threat that kratom poses was if it were to be banned, and I feel like that might have started the wheels in motion. What are your thoughts?
Uh, I think it's a accumulation of a large group effort. I think you had the American Kratom Association through their grassroots organization, letting the consumers' voices be heard. I think the more science that comes out on kratom, the more positive it puts the substance in light. Uh, I think it's starting to dispel a lot of the fears people have. And I think it comes down to education, educating people on what it is, how it's used, who are the consumers. I mean, I know 85-year-old women that are taking our product.
Hmm.
So it's not one particular subtype of person. You probably know a lot of your customers more on a personal level than I do. Uh,
Hmm.
so, there's not a one size fits all customer. I bet you have people that have drug abuse in their past that are young, all the way to old. People use it for different reasons. So,
Yep, it's across the board,
yeah.
100%. And then let's go on to note number two. Kratom can be imported legally. This is one I always hear, that everything in the United States is illegal because of the FDA import alert.
Now, there's some stuff I'm not going to go on the record and really explain the hows of what we do or why. I know
Okay.
that the import alert is not a law, it's a policy standpoint by the FDA. I do know that 300 or 400 containers a month come through the ports in the United States. I know that if you label it correctly, you run the risk of it getting detained. If it does get detained, you have a legal pathway to fight the seizure and get it unembargoed. I see that happen all the time. Uh, so, I mean, there is as long as you are not lying on federal forms and telling the truth and labeling it what it is, None of this bullshit of, well, not for human consumption, or calling it potpourri, or, call it what it is, and indicate what it is, and you can lawfully import this product.
Can you kind of explain to people what an import alert is? I know a lot of people don't really understand it. I mean, I feel like most people can understand, like, based on the title of it, but do they do this normally, or import alerts like normal?
There are multiple import alerts that different agencies put out. All this did was the FDA went formal on the record, and they gave multiple reasons why they wanted this detained. And just to notify Customs and Border Patrol about, they feel like it is an adulterated ingredient, not fit for human consumption. Now that comes down to what do you test for? You have to be able to prove traceability. Your foreign manufacturer has to be a foreign registered manufacturing facility with the FDA. There's a program to get that done. You have to show traceability testing, that it's clean and wholesome, free of heavy metals, microbials, salmonella, yeast, mold, plate count, and all that. And, just beef up your quality system, and that will help you increase the survival of getting your product out of seizure.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's another talking point that I love from the anti-kratom people. Oh, kratom is filled with heavy metals, but I'm sure with your lab reports, with our lab reports, you find more heavy metals in a chocolate bar, more lead. We had 30 times the amount of mercury in a can of tuna. The people get so caught up on these headlines, but they don't understand things.
Now, I haven't researched this, but I've been told this, and it sounds true, that you can't grow a tomato in California past the lead test for a California produce product. That naturally grown tomatoes in California are going to have more lead than what is lawfully allowed in California.
Prop 65. Yeah, Prop
Yes.
65
Okay.
is a bitch.
Yeah. So anyway, that being said, everything grown in the ground has the risk of lead, mercury, nickel, things of that nature. So it's, what product are you introducing into commerce, and does it qualify based on the thresholds of what it is? Do they test for this stuff like they do THC at work? It depends, Lori. It's not illegal, so I mean, it depends on what state you're in and what the laws are in that state. Obviously, we don't test for it here.
Check your city water supply testing. That's hella scary. Yeah, they can be high, but I always like to do videos comparing it to everyday foods. People are like, oh my God, kratom has heavy metals in it. It's like, well, did you know that your
My bad. I accidentally went in through my phone.
but Indonesia has came a very, very, very long way. Now with Thailand opening up the ports, when I went to Thailand, I was highly impressed with their setup over there for export.
Yeah,
It was
it's
cool.
people. I heard this. There's a group called End Kratom Addiction, and they do podcasts now. And one of them, they said that you can't get kratom in Indonesia because the government won't allow it. I mean, I was there. I saw. I saw firsthand. How plentiful it was available if people wanted to use it.
Yep.
So I don't know where they get
Yeah.
that information from. They also said that every gram of kratom in the United States was imported illegally and as a felony, and money laundering and all that stuff. I'm like, well, if that was true, I mean, the FDA knows who we are, the DEA knows who we are, Customs and Border Patrol, they know where to find kratom, they know where it's coming in every month, and I can show you black and white evidence of a container getting embargoed at the port, filing the correct paperwork, and the FDA releasing that to come into the United States. That's a fact.
Hey Todd, do you want to respond to the Need Inspiration 9? Did they follow through with the ban on 7OH?
Okay, what is the question again?
They asked, did they even follow through with the ban on 7OH?
Here, let's talk about that. On July the 5th, the 1st, whenever it was, the DEA publish a notice of intent to schedule. And they're not scheduling the molecule, they're scheduling amounts that exceed what's found in natural products. Today is the first day that could go enforced. They can do that anytime from this date moving forward. Nobody knows when it officially will take effect. They may never officially schedule it, but the statutory timeline has been set. That 30-day notice of intent has expired now. So anytime at any minute moving forward, they could do it today, they could do it tomorrow, they could do it next week, they could do it December 24th, they could do it next March 5th. And then it's now Schedule 1.
Gotcha. And I think a lot of people got very confused too with the open comment period. Like they were just looking for scientific data on the thresholds that people were looking for. Not they weren't like looking for personal stories. And I mean, I 100% respect people who made a comment in good faith, like, hey, this is what helped me XYZ, but I don't have respect for me being I'm in some 7OH groups. I just see what's going on. Like, oh, I made 50 comments. Oh, I made 100 comments. I just signed up as like an anonymous user. And it's like, that's not right to do either.
Time out for a second. Think about this. With the advancements of technology today, artificial intelligence and all that, do you not think the DEA has a method to where they can identify exactly what's being done, who's doing it, get rid of multiple comments from the same IP address, all of that stuff?
I mean, I'm sure they do. It's just on like on the morality of, like trying to like cheat the system type of thing,
I think if they did that, it just shows that there's a lot of nefarious characters in the business.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of money to go around too. So I'm sure they could. Because did you see the comments like shoot up like all of a sudden? Did you see that?
Now, I heard that it went from 29,000 to 600,000 overnight.
Yeah, like that's not possible.
I looked at it, they're still showing like 29,000 comments, the comment period had closed. So I'm not too concerned with it.
Yeah. Totally makes sense. Let's see. I think it's going around that pseudo is causing problems with the ban for the regular leaf. We discussed that earlier today. I think we're good. What are your thoughts?
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the DEA's intent is to catch people that are trying to do right on a technicality.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to come by and say, oh, well, you got 8 parts per billion of metribuzin pseudodoxil on this natural leaf product. You're now a felon. I don't see that happening.
Me neither. They specifically said we are carving out the natural leaf. They said that over and over and over again. Even the head of the DEA.
I'll give you an example. Delta 9 THC, hemp derived. They're taking CBD and converting that over to Delta 9 THC. You can go into all of these hemp companies and find kilograms of Delta 9 THC, which according to the letter of the law would be marijuana. So in states where it's still outlawed, you have hemp companies that have kilos of it. How many times have you seen the DEA go arrest somebody? They're not doing it. So I don't think DEA agents are sitting in the shadows waiting for somebody to walk around with a kilo of kratom powder and go arrest them and say, we got you.
Exactly.
That's not the intent.
And yes, Hunter, I do have a speech impediment. Yeah, I've stuttered my whole life, so.
I can't see all the comments that you're seeing in the chats.
Oh, he just saying, we spit it out type of thing. It's fine. I'm just letting him know I do have a speech impediment, but that's okay. SR can still be purchased. I don't know. I'm not sure.
No, I'm trying to figure out, I'm not seeing your comments. I don't think people asking your questions.
Oh, okay. Someone said the soonest it could be announced is tomorrow. I thought the soonest it could be announced is today.
Today. They could announce
today.
Now, here's the thing. It's 5 o'clock in DC. I doubt it's going to happen today.
Yeah. I think it probably happened at like the end of the, I don't know. Typically,
nobody knows.
It's a few days. Yeah, no one knows.
I heard for the past year, Any day now, they're going to announce scheduling. Any day now, and it never happened until a month ago. So
Yeah,
I'm
that
done
was a
predicting. I'm done guessing. If they do it, they do it. If they never end up doing it, it is what it is. I know that there's a lot of people in America right now sitting on millions of dollars worth of 7-hydroxy that I don't know what they're going to do. So I bet you see a lot of people go out of business. And I'm not talking the manufacturers. I'm talking distributors, large smoke shop chains, stuff like that
hmm
that have just an abundance of the product.
yeah. Wasn't there one 7-hydroxy manufacturer that like went to that got arrested for like he had like armor piercing guns? Remember that?
That was,
Overseas Organics, I think. I
yeah,
think.
Maxwell Horvath. Uh,
Okay.
and I remember talking to him back in the early days of Kratom. And I told him, I was like, I don't want to do business with you. You're going to end up going to jail because of the shit I saw him doing then. And I didn't want to be part of his supply chain or no have any relationship with him at all. So just the stupid shit he would post on TikTok. He would show pictures of his 7-hydroxy pill press running. You know, he looked like a typical Jay and Silent Bob stoner, bragging about, idiotic bullshit. I'm not surprised he got arrested with, and here's the thing. He already got out of, at 19 years old, he was a felon, got out of prison, already served federal time at 19. So I'm not surprised at all that he got in trouble.
How much does it cost to produce 7-hydroxy? I mean, because you know a lot about manufacturing. So how much do you think it's their cost?
If your cost per kilogram of MIT is $3,000, I bet your processing by your chemicals and all that stuff, not including your fixed expenses, just your actual processing, maybe 10-15%. So that N kilo might go up to $3,500. And then you got a 75-80% kilo of 7-hydroxy. It's your reactors, your solvent, your roto evaporators, your vacuum ovens. Depending on how big you want to go, that's where your money's going to get tied up in.
But like, could you guess like a price per pill that it for the manufacturer themselves,
You just
or
have
are
to
you
do
in
the
a know?
math. I mean, it's, you know, 60 cents a pill, 50 cents, somewhere around there.
Okay. I heard way cheaper. I heard like some people saying, because some people asked me to sell 7-hydroxy. Almost every 7-hydroxy company reached out to me. Seven Ohms, Overseas Organics, Lucky Sevens. But I always said no, And like one of the companies were like, "Dude, you'll make so much more money. Like the half life is way shorter. Like you'll be a bajillionaire type of thing." And they're like, "We it only costs us like 15 to 20 cents per pill, and we're selling it for so much more." It was like ridiculous markup. Like it was like, holy crap. Like I don't know,
Yeah,
but it
you might be right. I never really got involved in talking about it. I never sold it, never bought it. The
yeah.
only reason we made it to see if we could do it, we published the SOP to the right people. My main thing was they were using pool chemicals. The exact same chemical that you would put in your pool to shock it is the exact same chemical they use in the conversion process.
And they said that was misinformation. I saw so many people saying, "Oh, that's not true. That's not misinformation." But I believe Vince Saunders is the one that said that,
Yeah, if
correct?
you watch the documentary, he admitted it in the video.
Yeah. Pool shock,
Yeah,
basically. I don't know the sign, the whatever real name it
ozone.
is, but ozone?
Yeah, it's something like that, I think.
Okay.
I'd have to
Yeah.
look up the exact chemical name, but yeah, he admitted it in the new documentary that just came out.
That's crazy because yeah, the whole 7OH industry was calling me a liar. I'm full of shit, all that stuff that I was saying these things. I'm like, this is literally what he said. And didn't Vince produce most of the 7-hydroxy in the country?
Yeah, calcium hypochlorite or potassium monosulfate are the two different chemicals. In this industry, and you've been around long enough to know that for 95% of what you hear is bullshit or an outright lie. How many times you've been told, I manufacture this product myself, and you come to find out they don't? Or
Yeah.
we have our own extraction facility, and they don't. People brag and lie in this industry all the time. So was Vince a large player? Yes. Was he the number one? You had Colorado Chromatography, you had CBD American Shaman, and you had Outpost Brands. Between the three of them, I bet that was 95% of the market of actual converting.
Gotcha. And do you think any of the 7-hydroxy products on the market, because I know we consider it a semi-synthetic because they start with like metragenine, do you think any of it was fully synthesized?
I don't know. I know that the guy that taught everybody the science on how to mass produce 7-hydroxy, he just published a paper on how to create synthetic metrogenine. And he said it was just an experiment to see if we could do it. The cost will make it never scalable. So I don't know. I'm sure it could be done, but it's going to come down to opportunity cost. What does it cost to actually do it?
Um, Bunny Moon. I don't want to say your real name because I don't want to like be rude. I know. She says, "Is that Todd Underwood?" So yes, it is. This is Todd.
Does she like
Okay.
me or hate me?
Probably likes you. Okay. Faith Day. You know Faith.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Synthetics are scary. Doing the Lord's work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're trying. We are definitely trying. When actually, so I think you could explain this good to people. I've tried and I feel like I'm pretty good at it. But what exactly is MGM 15 and 16?
MGM 15 and 16, I know we'll debate on the amount, but when you consume metrogenine in your first pass metabolism, a percentage of metrogenine gets converted over to 7-hydroxy. That's your first pass metabolism. So now in your bloodstream, you have 7-hydroxy. And now the second time it does a lap around your body and goes through your metabolite, your liver again, that's called your second pass metabolism. And some of that 7-hydroxy gets converted over to metrogenous pseudodoxyl.
Yep.
Now, that's what's concerning about consuming large amounts of 7. You immediately get unnatural large amounts of pseudodoxyl directly into your bloodstream, and then all the other conversions. But I haven't studied enough of the science on is MGM 15 a completely synthetic? I think it is. I think
It
MGM
is.
15 and 16 are completely synthetics, never found in nature, never found as a metabolite. I
Yep.
think. I don't know. I mean, there's only in any given day, I only have so much time to research. We're about ready to file our second version of our new dietary ingredient notification, and I think we're going to put the industry on their head when they see the safety data on this. So
Oh, that's amazing.
this is going to be.
Everyone says you sound like Obama.
I hear that all the time. I hear that all the time.
Your face, that's hilarious.
So
You're like, oh God.
I hear that frequently. And
Uh,
my wife is Michelle. No, I'm kidding. My wife is Nicole.
oh, okay. I thought I was like that would have been absolutely hilarious.
No,
Good
I'm not
guy,
going to get
Todd
not
is.
going to get too
There we
much into
go.
politics, but
Yeah, I kind of hear it now though. I didn't even hear it at all, but
well,
now
whoever said that, block them.
block them. Okay. Oh, I have to block like 95 people right now. There's a lot of people that said it. A lot of people. Good thing you can't read my comments, right? Um. All right. And then did you have a few more minutes or did you have to get going? I know
I
you're super
can
busy.
we can wrap it up in 5. So
In
anybody has
5.
any last few questions they want to ask, or any other comments or topics you want to go over?
Yeah, anything you guys would like to talk about. I think too, I mean, I've made hundreds of videos explaining why 7OH is not kratom, but I feel like coming from your perspective as a manufacturer, as one of the leading people in the whole entire industry, why is 7OH not kratom?
Well, let's first define what is kratom.
Exactly.
Kratom, if somebody asks me what is kratom, kratom is a tree. It produces a leaf. And when you talk about what is kratom as a supplement, it is typically ground up kratom leaf that people consume in a tea, a powder, a leaf, a tablet, a capsule. And then you have kratom extract products where they take the plant material, they collect all of the available alkaloids, and then they take that product and then formulate a consumer packaged good. Now, 7-hydroxy is a metabolite of an alkaloid found in kratom. 7-hydroxy has its own unique definition. I'm reading Fox's Feast. How do you feel about the term kratom being used for synthetic? Yeah, I think it's a disservice for people. You're lying about what it is. I think whether you like 7-hydroxy or not, be honest about what you're giving people. Label it appropriately. Tell people what they're going to get.
Yeah. Did you freeze? Oh no, you didn't. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people are saying too, like, oh, we should have just regulated 7-hydroxy. But based on the Controlled Substances Act, it was impossible to regulate 7-hydroxy over the counter.
No,
I think a lot
I
of
wouldn't agree. I wouldn't agree with that. The argument of, well, we should regulate it, not ban it. I'm gonna double down on this. If none of these manufacturers followed the most basic regulations to start with, what are new regulations going to do?
hmm
I mean, it's already a law that you have to be registered with the FDA as a food manufacturing facility. It's already law that you have to follow 21 CFR. It's already a law that you have to follow Part 111 and 117. It's already a law that if you're going to introduce a new dietary ingredient, you have to notify the FDA. So what good is it going to do if we add more laws on top of that? Murder is already illegal in the United States. Do we need to add another law? Would that reduce murder? Would another
no,
law help that?
no. That's just common sense. No, it wouldn't.
So anyway, it was
But
fun. Go ahead.
well, I was say, but if you can continue like explaining why 7OH is not kratom, I kind of cut you off and we went down that tangent, so I'm sorry.
Well,
But
if you define kratom on what is kratom, it's easy to figure out that 7-hydroxy is not kratom. It's kind of like cannabis has 110 cannabinoids in there. If you sit there and sell Delta 8 and call that cannabis or call that marijuana, is that accurate labeling or accurate marketing? No. Delta 8 is a synthetic isomer that is synthetically created out of a cannabinoid.
mhm.
So it's not the same thing.
Of course, but also too, when it comes to the 7-hydroxy products, I think a lot of people they can't distinguish between like a chemically manipulated 7-hydroxy product that has incredibly high binding affinity, only attaching to opioid receptors, and the trace amounts of 7-hydroxy that is so small it has no pharmacological effect on you.
So you're saying that people can't distinguish between the two?
That's what reading my comments. Yes, they think
No,
it's
I
the
mean,
same thing.
no. You got to keep in mind when you consume kratom or a traditional kratom extract, you're consuming 50 to 54 alkaloids synergistically together. I'm not sure if Chris told you, there are alkaloids in the kratom plant that if you consumed them as an isolate in the same levels they are found in raw leaf, they would kill you. Did he tell you that?
No.
No, there's a few alkaloids that if you isolated that alkaloid out of a gram of whole leaf and took that amount out of that gram of whole leaf, it could kill you. But that's not kratom. It's
Mhm.
your liver is processing all of those alkaloids in a system together and they balance each other out. So when you now take ultra concentrated 25 milligrams of pure 7-hydroxy, that is going directly to your liver, and that's never been done before. So, if you drink or take a serving of kratom and you get 300 parts per million into your bloodstream, your body has a way to regulate that. It's only going to convert a certain amount of it over to 7-hydroxy at a certain amount of time. It doesn't all immediately get converted. So now you consume a 25 or a 50 or 100 milligram pill of 7-hydroxy, you're also getting all of those other unknown compounds that get converted during the conversion process that they haven't identified. Those are other synthetic alkaloids now with no history and identification of what they are, the short and long-term effects. And people don't understand exactly the way it interacts from a pharmacological standpoint.
Totally makes sense. Have you interviewed Dr. McCurdy as well? I'm
I've
sure you,
never,
oh, not interviewed him, but you've talked to him a lot.
I've talked to Chris frequently.
Okay. He's you know, I don't like when people will discredit his work for years and years. I remember in 2016, he released an article saying 7-hydroxy, a molecule of concern. Well, he was saying in the natural powder, you know, there's no issue. There's it's such a trace amount. But in the future, he was like warning if companies isolated this and chemically manipulated it and put it onto the American market, it can be a big problem. To me, he
Uh,
was more like a fortune teller than he was a scientist. In I mean, he's an amazing scientist, but he was a psychic too. He like knew exactly what was going to happen.
I think a lot of responsible people did, and you can go back for 3 years and see me sounding the alarm on 7-hydroxy. And keep in mind, I'm empathetic to people that are in pain or are looking for natural remedies, or being an adult, making your own choice on what you put in your body. I get that whole argument, but as a manufacturer of traditional kratom products, my first concern is to the customers that I serve and making sure that these products remain legal and lawful for them on the market. And the risk that 7-hydroxy brought to the whole industry was completely unnecessary. And now we're suffering those consequences day by day, seeing different states or municipalities try to regulate or ban kratom.
Of course, 100%. And my kids are going crazy upstairs. I think my wife's getting mad at me, so I should probably go. I think I
Okay.
stayed on a little bit too long, but I think we should do this again. Just let me know. It was great having you, and let's definitely do it more.